Hi guys, you got some more from Zo. It's Kazi here from Cape Town. How you doing? How you doing? Alright, listen, I decided to do a second frame staple video because there's quite a few people that are struggling to do the build. So hopefully I am going to maybe have different angles, maybe show something I did not show previously. I've got no idea, but I need to make some calls for a guy who ordered a few, so I'm just gonna make some wine. Decided I'll do a video again, okay, to show you. So I'm not sure what the problem is when you are trying to make the calls and do not manage. So maybe you pick up something in this specific video. Just want to show you something. Just look at these awesome Hadley tips. Don't they just look magnificent? I love it. Got my Rio back from a service, and this thing is working like a jemmy at the moment. And for those people who think that the Hadley doesn't have enough airflow, oh my word. That's a lot of airflow. That's very nice. I just got to take another one. This we're gonna need. You got to have low batteries inside. Yeah, got to have low batteries. It must work. Must work. Alright, we got that. Great. 28 gauge. I'm gonna use 28 gauge today. I'm going to use 38 gauge, which I'm going to Clapton with, and then my cores inside my 28 gauge borders are going to be 0.3 ribbon wires. Now, as I said previously, if you're going to go for 26 gauge, I know there's people that differ, but I find that 26 gauge and 0.4 ribbons go together, and 24 gauge, your 0.5 ribbons go together. That's how I find it easier to build. Alright, you might have something different or see a different video, but whenever I'll make 28 gauge borders, I like to use 0.3 ribbons as my cores. Cool beans. What else we're going to need is this little monkey. Now, one thing I don't like about this guy, which I actually preferred the previous one, is this guy seems to struggle a bit more along your smooth surface than the previous one actually did. So yeah, I still manage. Maybe you can just round off those edges a bit more in front over there to make it more easier than that. Or you can put this guy on a nice piece of silk or whatever, so that it moves along easier. Or the bottom of your plastic Coke bottle, cut out a piece and mount it on there. So it might be that this guy's maybe struggling a bit in your case, but I mean, I don't have that issue. Mine is still going fine though, but I just thought maybe it could be that. So this guy you're going to need just one single straw on the inside. That is good. And then obviously my spring and my nut. That's what we're going to need. And then I'm going to use this little bloke, which was included inside the Daedalus Pro package. And then the 28 gauge guide. That's all I'm going to need. Alright, for today's build. And then obviously your plier or some other wire cutter, which would be good. So the first step which you do, or what I do, is I just take a piece of my 28 gauge and I am going to straighten it. So I'm going to cut off a piece approximately, let's say 60 centimeters, make it worth the while of building this coil now, and I just cut it off my spindle, and I put my spindle away, and then I'm going to grab my drill and straighten this guy. There I've got a little drill here, and then I'm going to make a little twist on this side just to secure it inside. Still an old piece of wire, took that out, the previous one which actually, and yeah, just put it inside. Then as I said, what I do is I just take my plier and secure it on the other end. It's just simple, and then I straighten it. You can see, hopefully you can see my hands. Okay, so it's the first step which you do. Just get yourself a 28 piece, approximately 60 centimeters, and just straighten it a bit there. Okay, it's very important. That should be fine. It's very important that it is straighter. Okay, they can see mine is very much and lovely, very straight. Okay, and then this as well, if you're going to take off your ribbon wires from your spool, just going to move my tape over there, try not to get your ribbon wires to bend, because if they remain nice and flat, it's easier to stack these guys together at a later stage. So as I said, I'm going to go for 60 centimeter pieces. So yeah, just get myself a nice section over there and cut it off. What have I got now? I've got a nice 60 centimeter piece of 28 gauge which I straightened. I cut myself three 60 centimeter, approximately 60 centimeter pieces of 0.3 ribbon wires. Just putting on my tape. Ugly business, but it works. Put it back in low box. Now one by one we are going to pull our ribbons through my 24 gauge loop which I've created. There you can see, there's my clamp, and then I've got a ball bearing swivel there, and I've attached another ball bearing swivel on there, and then I've got my 24 gauge loop which I've created. So through that specific edge over there, I'm going to run my ribbon wires, and I'm going to run my 28 gauge border wires. Right, so that is the setup which I have. You can maybe have 3 swivels, you can maybe have 1 swivel. I just find this to work very well for me, so I'm keeping it like that. If you put one through, just take some saliva or take some water if you don't like your saliva, and just wet it all along, and that helps to keep those 2 ribbons together. Then you can loop your second 0.3 ribbon through and wet that as well, and keep those 4 ribbons together now. And then your last one, I'm just going to do a 28 gauge outer border with 6 ribbons inner core, which I'm going to clap in with a 38 gauge. Alright, so let's put the ribbons through quickly. Easy as pie. So that should be no problem. And then you meet up the edges at the back so that they can be the same length. And then you tighten it. Okay, second ribbon wire. And close it. Alright, so all I do now is I just squeeze these guys together, and there you can already see that they're basically next to one another. See how nice and close these guys are next to one another. So now it's easy to bind them together. Alright, so there you saw how I tied it. Now if you're going to have a closer look, you will actually see what it looks like. So you can see, absolutely no problem. So if I slide this little guy forward, you're going to see they're still lying next to one another. See there? So no matter where I slide it to, these guys are going to lie exactly next to one another. So yeah, and this is a very important step. I mean, if you don't do this, this whole thing is not going to work. So this is important, that you actually get that to lie next to one another. So now that we've got our ribbons together, we've got our tie down keeping these ribbons next to one another, we can put through our 28 gauge. And there it goes. See guys, this is the situation which you want. If you've got that, you're good. I mean, it's fine. You've got your 28 on the outside. There's my little first tie down which I actually did. So now I've got these guys nicely together. Now I'm just going to tie them all down together. So if you've got that nice decent tie down now, the second tie down, keeping them all together, you're set. You don't have to do anything more, because this guy we're going to slide all the way forward, and as you slide it forward, you will see it absolutely keeps these wires all together perfectly. No matter how they overlap one another on this side, they're going to be nice and perfect together. Okay, I'll just show you a close-up again of what this looks like. See, so there you can actually see my second tie down, keeping all these wires together. So no matter where I move it to, it will automatically place these wires next to one another. And I mean, just look, you can see it's gonna work perfectly. I promise you this. So all I do now is I'll just move this tie down all the way forward. All the way. And it is placing the wires nice and neatly where I want them to. I'm just going to get a piece in the front where all these wires are still next to one another, because I mean the one might be slightly longer than the other one, and I'm just going to cut them off. So now I've got a very sharp edge over there with everything next to one another. Next step is now to place this guy through the straw so that it exits in front. Alright, so if you have got your tie down and there's little pieces sticking out, just cut that off, else it might have a problem going through the straw. Yeah, I think I'm good. So yeah. Nice. Nicely done. Okay, now the next step is to take this guy and through that hole put these guys through. And then you place this guy in his slot where he's supposed to be, just like so. And yeah, now you take your little friend, the 28 gauge, because I'm working with 28 gauge borders. Okay, so now you take your little 28 gauge and we are going to place it in front into that neat cut section, which shouldn't be a problem. And it is not a problem. Alright, so this is the situation which we have in front. There we've got our tie down. There we've got our 28 gauge. And you'll see how nicely these wires are kept together. I just take myself another piece of ribbon wire, and then I just secure these guys together in front as well, like I did with that one. I'm just going to do another one in front, and then I'm going to use my 38 gauge to anchor my 38 gauge on that front part. Right, there you can see my front part nicely secured, and you can still see all these wires next to one another. All that remains to do now is to take my 38 gauge and place it on top, which I will do now. Okay, get a small little piece and what I do is I push it through the bottom small little hole. Okay, there you go. Got a nice piece through. I'm going to place back on my spring. I'm going to put on my nut. Okay, give myself some slack and then tie it around the front, secure it around the front. This portion I'm then going to place inside my chuck. Nicely secure. Okay, so I'll just move closer so you can actually see what's happening now. Now guys, if you've got your setup that looks like this, there cannot be anything wrong, because that guy you're going to push inside there. This guy's going to go forward. You'll see all our wires are still nice and neatly together, and then this guy's going to start clamping it automatically. It doesn't matter what the wires at the back look like. Don't worry about these wires at the back. As long as it's together in front, then clamping and keeping them together, they will automatically be straightened at the back. Okay, so let's give it a go. Okay, I'll pull it away a bit so I can put some tension on the wire running over here. Let's get these little loose wires out of the way. And just want to see if our tension is fine. Let's give it a go. Okay, I need to obviously get a direction. See guys, I immediately started it. No jump cuts, nothing. And I can slow it down for you, bring it in closer. Okay, you can see absolutely perfect. I'll slow it down for you. So you can actually see what it looks like. And I mean, I just started this. And you can see the surface which I'm working on. It's not the smoothest surface. Nothing wrong. Okay, let's speed it up. You can even leave it and you can have a nice vape quickly. Just quickly want to show you what these wires look like at the back. So I'm just going to slow it down so you can actually see. Okay, so just look at those wires at the back. But as I said, this guy automatically in front is going to keep them together. He's going to place these guys in the correct spot. So you don't have to worry about that. Here you can see our 24 gauge loop is going to start going into our straw area over here, and still perfect in front over there. As soon as it almost touches the back, I'm going to stop it. There you go. Sweet Macarena. Okay, so all I do now is I just cut off there. Smooth, man. Just check out that smoothness. Nice and lovely. Look at this nice section which we just did. And this section I am going to be able to get 4 frame staples out of. And that frame staple is going to last me 2 months. At minimum 2 months. This guy in here, 3 months old. 12 weeks. Going on 12 weeks now. So yeah, this guy as well. This guy's about in for 7 weeks now. So. Rio. What a pleasure owning one of these guys. If you guys are into squonking, what you are looking at here is one of the godfathers of squonking. The Rio. Just look at all these frame staples I've made. Even turned myself 2 coils already. 28 borders. 6.3 ribbons, claptoned by 38 gauge. Awesome stuff. Hope you guys manage, and if you got any more questions, just ask me. Enjoy your Friday night. We'll do a review on the Comet RDA tomorrow morning, but yeah, enjoy your weekend. Up until then, this is Kaiser. Over and out. Cheers.